Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today on this first of two interviews of the week on this Saturday afternoon. We hope you are having a great weekend, and we have a regular segment where we the street. What do we call this? The street beat or the the street report is what we call it, where we talk to somebody from St. Paul Street Evangelization and talk about getting out there and doing what all of us should be doing, not necessarily has to be in the streets, but is just proclaiming the good news to people, sometimes to strangers, and trying to let them know about our Catholic faith, which there is an awful lot of ignorance about. Returning to the program is Paul Mathers. He's one of the original St. Paul Street evangelists in North Texas. And he's going to give us an update on what's going on, some of the new chapters that have formed, and also some good news having to do with official recognition by Bishop Farrell. So, Paul Mathers, welcome. How you doing?
Great, Dave. Good to be with you. How are you today?
Yeah, good. I guess it's been a couple months since I've spoken to you. We talked to Oscar Cavazos, I believe, last month, and so we're trying to get this on once a month or so, just to try to encourage people to join y'all. And now with all these new chapters forming, it's getting easier all the time. You
Absolutely.
sent me an email the other day. What are there, about 6 or 7 chapters in North Texas now?
Well, we started with one, as you know,
Yeah.
and we're up to 6 now. We've got a new chapter that recently formed in North Dallas. We still have my chapter in Dallas. We have one in Fort Worth. We have another new chapter in Anna, another one that Oscar leads in Collin County, and he lives in Allen. That's where he leads it out of. And we have another new one in Tyler, in the Tyler Diocese, which is just starting up. And I believe they went out already for the first time last weekend or the weekend before. So it's moving right along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing growth, and to consider that the whole street evangelization effort, at least this type of it that has been started recently, is only a little over a year old. It's amazing how it's not only growing in North Texas, but across the world and the country. Can you give folks who didn't hear perhaps one of our first interviews with you and also with Oscar a little bit of background about what St. Paul Street Evangelization is all about?
Absolutely. I mean, and I hope it's not repetitious for too many of your listeners, but there's probably quite a few new people that haven't heard about us yet. And this started a year ago, Memorial Day. So it's a little over a year old now. And some guys in Portland, Oregon, a guy named Steve Dawson, who's the national leader now, went out and they set up a table, like a folding table at a park, and they put some rosaries on it and some pamphlets that they found, I think on the internet from a Catholic website that talk about Catholic teaching. And they came up with a sign with a picture typically of Jesus, maybe Mary on the sign, and it just says, Catholic truth, do you need prayer or information, that sort of thing. And what we do is very passively just stand and where there's a lot of foot traffic and let people come by and offer them a free rosary. Would you like a free rosary, ma'am? And people might walk by and say, no, thanks, and keep going, and, well, have a nice day. And if they are interested, they'll say, well, yes, I would like a free rosary. And then that kind of starts a conversation from there, and we ask them right after that, well, are you Catholic? And the answer obviously is yes or no. And if they are, it's like, are you an active Catholic? Are you an idle Catholic? Are you a fallen away Catholic? What's your story? And we'll just talk to people about it, and we'll ask them if they need prayer, or if they're not Catholic, are they interested in the Catholic Church? There's so many misconceptions out there, as you said before, and we try to just clear up those misconceptions and tell people what the true teaching is of the Catholic faith. Mm-hmm. And it's really, it's expanded now into over 60 cities. We're in Africa, Asia, the Philippines, Australia, and it's just growing more and more from week to week. And it's really been successful. And what's amazing to me is more than doing like a lot of apologetics and talking with fundamentalists or other Protestants, we have talked to a big percentage of the people that walk by that are Catholic that'll say something like, well, yeah, I was raised Catholic, but I haven't been to church in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll say, well, let's talk about it. What would it take to get you to go to confession and come back and get the Eucharist, because it's just so important.
Yeah. Are you ever surprised at how many people are willing and even are wanting somebody to talk to? I think people might think, oh, you're pestering people or nobody's going to want to talk to you. But I bet you the opposite's true. I bet you find a lot of people that really do want to talk.
Well, that is true. And from your own personal experience from coming out with us like you did in March, there's a lot of people willing to talk, because we're not out there yelling at them. We're not screaming, proselytizing. We're there very passively. We let the sign do the talking. And if people want to talk about the Catholic faith, we're happy to do so. And you don't have to be any kind of an expert in your faith. You don't have to be an apologist, or you don't have to be a Steve Ray or a Tim Staples. You just have to know a little bit about your faith, and, of course, continue to learn a little each day. It doesn't hurt for you to listen to good talks about Catholic teaching from learned people that know about it, or read good books about it, and read the Bible daily and learn more so you can share it with people out on the street. So I urge people that want to come out with this, don't be afraid. Well, I don't know enough about the Catholic faith, because there's other people there to help you, and it'll really help you expand your knowledge too.
Yeah, and in just a minute, we'll tell the listeners about a couple of opportunities, one being tomorrow up in McKinney, where you can get your feet wet and get started with this, and then also the following weekend, August 3rd and 4th, Paul and some others will be in downtown Dallas, and we'll give you the details on that. First, though, Paul, I wanted to talk about the very good news. I know you sent an email through, it was at least a month ago, where y'all have officially been given a blessing by Bishop Kevin Farrell, the Bishop of the Diocese of Dallas, for your efforts. How did that all come about?
Well, it was just an important thing to me to make sure that we were doing things correctly, and that we got the bishop's blessing for our efforts. So I sat down and wrote him an old-fashioned snail mail type letter,
mm-hmm.
and told him what I just told your listeners about what we are and what we do, and gave him the website and urged him, whoever got the letter, probably one of his assistants, to look at it. And they must have looked at it and decided that they liked it, because I did get a written letter back from the bishop praising our efforts and giving us his official blessing and wishing us good luck, that sort of thing. So that was a really good feeling, hearing from him and getting it straight from the bishop.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people that see the Catholic sign may be shocked that Catholics are out there doing that. And for somehow along the way, it became, over the last several decades, very out of fashion for Catholics to go out and overtly evangelize, whereas some of our non-Catholic brothers and sisters, and also the Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses, are kind of known for that. But it's you think this is something that is kind of catching on? More Catholics are starting to realize the necessity to do this?
Absolutely. I mean, I think back in the day, and even until recently, to Catholics, it was sort of a private thing. You privately practice your faith. Even for devout Catholics, you go to church, you pray, you go home, you do things privately. But it's not the way of the world anymore, especially with Twitter and Facebook, which we are on, by the way. You can go find our pages on Facebook as well as the website, which we'll give here before we leave. And it's with all the communication and instant messaging all the time, it's such a great way for folks to get the word out about Catholic teaching anymore. It's just not, we don't practice our faith in private anymore. We've got to get it out there so we can increase the numbers and get people back into the church where they belong.
Mm-hmm. You probably get a lot of different responses. Do you ever get people that challenge you, people that really kind of know their stuff and they want to, and they maybe not in a quarrelsome way, but that want to kind of argue with you? Do you get that ever?
Sure, sometimes, but it is a small percentage. But we're prepared in a loving way to tell people, well, if you believe such and such about the Catholic faith, that we worship statues or something, we, in a loving way, straighten them out and tell them, well, no, that's not the way it is, and tell them the truth, which is what we're there to share. We definitely get a few people that want to challenge us now and then, fundamentalists and evangelical, people like that, and we're happy to talk to them about it. We're not scared at all. That's, the Holy Spirit puts the words in our mouth, and we're out there to plant seeds. We can't convert anybody. The Holy Spirit does that. But we're happy to talk to them, whoever wants to.
Mm-hmm. You sent out an email just yesterday or the day before, and had some pictures on it and showing some of the work of the St. Paul Street Evangelists. And there was one very touching picture of a recent U.S. citizen from Africa who was having financial problems. You said her name was Esther. And then you said that some of the evangelists are working with the St. Vincent de Paul Society to offer her help. So it sounds like, it's not only the spiritual works of mercy that y'all are concerned about, but even the corporal and helping people with their temporal needs if necessary. Does those kind of situations come up quite a bit?
I don't know if I would say quite a bit, but we have had homeless people walk by that we've spoken to, that we've helped, and the incident you were talking about, I was not out there that particular day. Our other Dallas leader, Gene Tabola, was out there with his group. And yes, we're willing to try to help people as much as we can, with our ability to get St. Vincent de Paul or anyone else that we can help folks with. We've only had a few instances like that, but anytime we can help someone out like that, we certainly will.
Yeah, that's great. Paul Mathers, by the way, is my guest. You're listening to the first of two KATH interviews of the week on this Saturday afternoon, and the website that we referred to a couple of times before is streetevangelization.com. Now, that is the international website where you can find out kind of in general what this group is all about. But I think if you put a /Dallas, is that how they get to you? Is that right, Paul?
Correct. And depending on where you live, you can do /Fort Worth, /Anna, Tyler, Allen, or the North Dallas one is just the letter N and then the word Dallas.
Okay, and we promised that we'd talk about some of the events that are going on this weekend and also next weekend. I think it's, let's see, Town Lake Park, just east of 75 off El Dorado Parkway. This Sunday, tomorrow, July 28th, beginning at 11:30 a.m., there's going to be a group out there, right?
That is correct.
Okay, Jeff Hutchins is the leader for that, so if you want to go out there, this is the first time that they're going to be in McKinney. Now, so this is not Oscar's group. This is a different group altogether?
Yes, this is the new group from Anna that decided to go to McKinney. We're not restricting anybody to any one place. Sometimes Oscar takes his group from Allen down to Dallas, for example. Wherever there's people at is where we're going to go. But, we're going to be there in McKinney. And then we're also looking at August 3rd and 4th. Gene Tabola, one of our other leaders, wants to try going out in the evening, because we traditionally go out around noontime, but with this heat, he wants to try maybe a little bit later in the day. So we're looking at 4 o'clock to 7 p.m. on the 3rd and the 4th. He wants to do back-to-back days out there, so that should be interesting.
Now, do you ever have... I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say anybody who's interested is welcome to come out there with us.
Okay, so that's Saturday, August 3rd and Sunday, August 4th, 4 to 7 p.m., Clyde Warren Park, which is right there on Woodall Rogers, just on the north side of downtown Dallas. Very nice little park there, and you'll get to meet some new friends and evangelize. We're talking about St. Paul Street Evangelization, Catholics. That's right, Catholics getting out there and spreading the good news, talking to people, answering questions, dispelling myths that a lot of people have about the Catholic Church. And Paul, is there any kind of follow through with people? You might catch somebody and really inspire them. And is the idea just to send them to a parish, or is there any way that you can kind of follow up with them and see how they're doing?
We do have follow through. As a matter of fact, we have business cards and we have other literature that we give to people. with phone numbers or our emails on them for them to contact us. And we've already had some folks that have emailed us back saying, thank you for speaking to me out on the street. I've decided to go back to church, that sort of thing. And so we definitely want to hear feedback from people and find out how we're affecting folks out there in a positive or a negative way, so we can improve the way that we're doing things out there when we talk to people.
Mm-hmm. Now, you kind of hinted at this a little while ago about how you don't have to be Steve Ray or Tim Staples to do something like this, but I'm guessing at the same time you should have some knowledge, or a working knowledge of your Catholic faith. What would be kind of the low end that somebody would need to have as far as the knowledge of their faith to be able to do this?
Well, I started it with Catholic apologetics, which I started studying 6 or 7 years ago. Basically just defending the Catholic faith as people come and talk to you about and things that they've been told that are misconceptions, like so many people are taught by their non-Catholic preachers and pastors, things like that we worship statues or we worship a piece of bread, or why we don't believe in the Bible alone, or that you're saved or justified by faith alone. So definitely studying a little bit of your Catholic faith and paying attention in Mass every week is going to help you just to know the basics, at least, of what Catholic teaching is and the importance and the reality of the Eucharist.
Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing the number one requirement that really somebody should have is charity. I mean, if you have a strong desire and love for the people that you encounter, that's half the battle right there. I mean, and what you know is only a bonus, but you got to really have a lot of love for the people that you encounter, don't you?
Yes, and the way you're going to acquire that knowledge and that love and charity is through three things: prayer, prayer, and prayer.
Hey, let's in our closing minutes here, I want to also just congratulate you. I know you have been appointed now the coordinator for the whole southeastern U.S. for St. Paul Street Evangelization. Does that involve travel, or what exactly does that role entail?
It doesn't involve travel yet, but it may in the future. What it entails at the moment is Steve Dawson, who's our national leader. When folks go to our website and they show an interest, there's a little questionnaire there where they fill out their name and information and if they're interested in joining us. And he has started sending me lists of people everywhere from Texas to Florida and everywhere in between. And what I'm doing is going over the lists and looking at all the people that are close to each other. For example, I'll take everybody in the state of Florida, and if there's 20 names on the list, I'll look at all the ones that are relatively close to each other and get them together. I'll talk to them, either call them on the phone or email them and say, hey, you guys are all in this area. If you're interested in starting a chapter, why don't you all get together and have coffee and come up with a plan to start your own chapter. So I'm basically just coordinating all the people in the Southeast from here to there and getting them together to start their own chapters. Okay.
And if somebody's listening here in North Texas, do you prefer that they jump into a group that's already formed, or are you looking for more groups to be formed, or maybe start with A and then move to B, or what?
Both, absolutely. They're welcome to come join us anytime, but what we really want to do in the Metroplex, it's such a large area between Dallas and Fort Worth, rather than 1, 2, or half a dozen large groups, we would love to have 40 groups of smaller numbers of people spread out all over the Metroplex. But they can come out with us, learn the ropes a little bit, and then they can join as a leader on the website, and they have access to all the there's training on the website, and then they have access to how to get a sign and rosaries at a discount and how to start their own group. I mean, there's so much help available that it's amazing. But the answer to your question is that we want 40 groups, not just 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like that's where you're headed with the explosive growth just in the first year that now we're already at, 6 or 7 groups. All right, Paul, we're out of time, but I just want to repeat that website again so everybody can know where to go if they want to find out more information, streetevangelization.com, and then you can put a / Dallas or Fort Worth or Anna or Allen, I think, is another one that you can do, Tyler as well. And then can you real quickly just repeat where you all going to be tomorrow and then also next weekend?
Tomorrow we'll be in McKinney. I believe it's Town Lake Park. It's the park there off 75 in El Dorado. And then on the 3rd and 4th of August, near Clyde Warren Park, we're actually across the street by the crosswalk there by the Dallas Museum of Art.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good place for people to find.
Yeah. So it's on the south side of Woodall Rogers. They're between Woodall Rogers and downtown Dallas, so kind of right in the midst of it all. So it's really a neat park, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, Paul. Well, thanks a lot. Is there anything else we missed that you want to throw in, or have we covered everything we need to?
I think we've run the gamut, Dave.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot for what you do, and I'm going to get out there one of these days as well. I enjoyed it the one time I did, and then life got terribly busy. But I know we're all busy, but we need to make time for this. I realize. So I hope many of our listeners will take us up on this offer and this challenge to get out there and step outside the box and evangelize as we are all really called to do. And Paul, God bless you, and we'll hopefully get another report from you or one of the others here in the next month or so.
Thank you, and God bless you. I'm going to try to get some of the other leaders to talk to you also.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks a lot, Paul Mathers, and thanks to Diane for producing this. And also, we have another interview coming up right after this short break. We're doing 2 of these interviews of the week every Saturday afternoon, so listen to this quick break, and then we'll come back with interview number 2 right after this. Thanks for listening.